Hey guys, Phantom Null here, and I'm here with more City of Heroes in the closing days of City of Heroes, sadly. As pretty much anyone who's probably bothering to watch this video knows, City of Heroes is shutting down on November 30th, and I'm going to kind of be doing a string of videos over the next couple of days, sort of highlighting my favorite characters, sort of talking about all their powers, sort of cataloging just my characters in general, for memory's sake. And I'm going to run through a few missions on these characters. There might be a video or two where I do multiple characters in one video. I'm not exactly sure I'm going to do it, but there's only 10 days left from a combination of my sadness of, playing the game in this state and having some internet troubles, among other things. So, yeah, it's going to be a little somber for me, but at the same time, I want to catalog these characters in this form because, I enjoy making videos and I love my characters in City of Heroes. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Blackrose of Thorns, you've seen her perhaps in my previous videos, but I've never played her at high level, so I want to talk about all her powers and stuff, and we're going to be taking on random missions in the Rikti War Zone. I'm going to accept this mission to destroy Rikti equipment, and we have 60 minutes to do so. Alright, so here we go. 10 days left in City of Heroes. It's very sad for me personally. And I've been playing this game for, gosh, what was it? I think it's 7.5 years now. I came in at issue 9, or issue 8, one or the other. I don't remember exactly. I think I came in maybe in 8, but 9 was coming out soon. So it was 2006, I want to say? Or 2005, one or the other. Anyway, it's been a long time. So it's very sad to me to see this game closing. And NCSoft sucks. So, hey, it is what it is. Blackrose of Thorns, her origins has to do with the Rikti. She became a hero when they attacked and destroyed her home. Her mutant powers awakened, and she was killed, and is sort of an undead hero. The darkness is sort of this spirit that has possessed her body. Or not really possessed her body, but has given her this power and sort of an unlife. To sort of just do what she wants in a way, but, she doesn't know this, but her life is linked to the Rikti and their destruction, more or less, since that was the desire that she had most strongly when she died. That's sort of the ideal behind her. Though, all those details are just kind of things I conceptualized, and, there was nothing that ever really came of it. But yeah, that's the basic idea behind Blackrose of Thorns. And the spines are actually just sort of a inherent mutant power that she had, but didn't know about at the time. So yeah, alright, let's talk a little bit about the powers here. We have throw spines right here, as you can see. She throws a string of spines out in a wide cone in front of her. This is Spine Burst right here. It's a player-based area of effect attack. That is Impale. She throws a spine. This is a distance attack on a melee character, which is really awesome. This is Lunge. It's just a basic stab in front of her. And that's, what is that called, actually? Ripper. It's a very small cone in front of her that can take out multiple enemies if you position well. As you can see, I took out 2 enemies there. Here's Impale again, right in front of me, but I'm going to throw a spine anyway. And Ripper for the road. Also, I should mention, she has 2 damage auras. Quills, which is the... right there. There you go. That, and the you can see the sort of red aura that spills out around her on the ground. That is Death Shroud. I thought it was called Dark Shroud. And that is sort of a damaging aura from the armor set Dark Armor, which is her defensive set. And then there's Oppressive Gloom, which is not a damage aura, but it's a stun aura. It has a chance to disorient minions and underlings, but not anything ranked higher than a minion, if they are within melee range around her. As you can see, the guy's sort of stumbling around. That is from Oppressive Gloom. Now, I cannot stress just how awesome that aura is. It's been fantastic. And of course, the damage auras are amazing in their own right. And they're more or less what takes her in damage from being, just a good AoE damage dealer to just being an incredible damage dealer in general, like whether it be you know, on multiple enemies or a single enemy. You know, most people are like, yeah, Spines is, you know, sort of the AoE way to go, and that's true for melee characters. But with this setup, I can also say that she's a pretty darn strong single target damage dealer as well. Probably not in line with, you know, the highest of the high, but I'm just saying, you know, that gives her some real damage output against you know, things like elite bosses and things. Tough targets take a lot of damage in their own right, long after anything else around them is dead. So here's her heal. That is Dark Regeneration. Has a chance to heal off of every target in melee range around her, which is, in each individual heal, heals probably, gosh, what is it? Probably like a fourth of her HP or something. Let's do this. What is the number of heals for her? 879, and she has about 1600 HP. So wow, yeah, that heals even more than I remembered. Granted, a lot of that is due to the slotting I have in her, which I'll show off her slotting as well, because, you know, anyone who's watching these videos after the fact, they're probably mostly fans of City of Heroes that will appreciate this kind of thing. And, you know, at the same right, anyone watching that now, I would imagine, now meaning, you know, in November of 2012, they're probably fans of City of Heroes as well, I would imagine. So wow, yeah, we threw that entire room, and we didn't actually find any of the equipment we were supposed to destroy. So yeah, let's keep going. I'm gonna minimize my chat log. Should have done that before I started the video, but I didn't think about it. It is what it is. All right, so this mission is longer than I expected. Oh, we see some dialogue. Those are probably where the yeah, those are where the equipment that we're supposed to destroy is. Let's use Secondary Mutation, gives us a buff. This is End Reduction, Regen, and Resistance to Status. And let's hop out with that. I think I've talked about all her main powers. This here is Conserve Power. She does have endurance issues in long, drag-out fights against tough targets. So this is more or less just to keep her in check in those situations. She doesn't really need it now, but I popped it anyway because we're not going to run to anything that will give her that kind of trouble in here. And it recharges on her in about, I want to say 3 minutes. I changed her build recently, ironically after the announcement of the shutdown had come up. It was something I'd been meaning to do for a while, but I'd just been lazy about it, because one thing that never really became easy in City of Heroes, despite all the changes that came to it, and the improvements and everything, and it really had become a game that I just loved so much, and, you know, still do love and will love for the next 10 days that I can play it. But respecking was always such a pain, and so much more difficult than it needed to be. And many games do it much better. If there was a, you know, sort of City of Heroes 2 or something like that, that would be something that I hope they would work on. Of course, I have no illusions about that sort of thing happening now at this point, given that NCSoft is just, you know, shutting the game down, and their track record with just sitting on IPs and doing nothing with them, as they did with Tabula Rasa and a few other games as well. I haven't really followed that super well. I know that they have shut down, I think, like 4 or 5 games though, so yeah, screw NCSoft. And, you know, I know it's a business decision, but, you know, from all evidence that we've received, City of Heroes seemed to be a profitable game. I guess it just wasn't profitable enough to... I don't think there was any illusion about NCSoft growing the game anymore, and I think that's one of the things that majorly killed it. They were like, okay, at this point we're at a stalemate, so we might as well just shut it down. And okay, yeah, I knew there was somebody else here. We'll just shut it down and move on to a project that has potential growth, something like that. But yeah, you know, obviously for people like me who are fans of the game, that's not really a very satisfying approach. But it's business, and it's gross and disgusting. And what more would you expect, right? But yeah, that was one mission. we showed off all of our primary powers and spines. Tanks, hi! Wave to the tanks. I think big wave is an emote as well. Yeah, wave to those tanks. Haha. Doesn't really suit her, but hey, you know, whatever. Okay, and let's do one more. I want to show off as well all of my incarnate powers, which I've never been able to show off with her. So let's do another one. Hopefully it won't be in a cave, because I hate cave missions. Just straight up fight more Rikti. That's what I'm looking for, man. I'm not looking for hunt missions, nothing like that. I just want to go into an instance and rip some aliens apart. But yeah, as I was talking about her character, she's definitely more of a vigilante character. She's kind of willing to do, you know, the less heroic things if it will mean getting to the Rikti. And she hates them to a fault. That's kind of the idea behind her. And, you know, there was events in the game where you sort of found out about what the Rikti really are and the Lost, and, you know, how the Lost are actually, you know, humans that have been modified by the Rikti, and blah, blah, blah. And the Rikti, you know, of course, are aliens from, or rather, were humans from another dimension, and all that craziness. But despite knowing that, she still hates them. And so, you know, that's she's got flaws as a character. But, you know, it's all based on the premise that, you know, she can't bear the thought about what happened to her family. So, yeah, she's a very bitter person, you know, and she kind of tries to do what's right, you know, and she is a hero in her own right, but she has a hard time thinking clearly when the Rikti involved, and so, you know, the idea behind her is that, you know, she's pretty human in that way. She's very much a sort of solo, you know, hero in many ways. I mean, obviously I've teamed up with her in many cases, pickup groups and otherwise. But, you know, her concept is sort of built around that. She doesn't really deal with a lot of people, you know, aside from, you know, getting the work that needs to be done. She isn't looking to really make friends with others in that way, anything like that. But at the same time, I sort of envision her of sort of liking, you know, liking that sort of contact, but she's more or less afraid of it in a way as well, because of, you know, sort of the way she looks and, you know, the way she thinks people perceive her. She's Blackrose of Thorns, for anyone who can't tell by now, is my favorite character. So I sort of came up with a pretty good amount of backstory for her in her own right. My gosh, this has been taking forever to kill all these guys. That did not go so hot. I mean, I don't feel like I was ever in any real danger, but, you know, normally I rip through these guys a lot faster. And we should be using some incarnate powers, but I haven't been. You know what? He can just run away. I'm not concerned with one little guy. Okay, so we're going to use our damage incarnate power on this one. Start off with throw spines, a wide arc in front of us. Then use total core final judgment. Bam! Just this massive void of power expanding out from your character. And this is one of 4. Actually, I think they might have added a they added a 5th damaging incarnate power called Vorpal, which ended up being this sort of martial arts kick thing, which I never took on any character. It is what it is. Alright, so there's 2 groups here. I'm going to turn on my hybrid, which has a chance to hit twice on some attacks, or rather do damage twice. So I never got a real clear answer on how it works, but I think that for area of effect attacks, it doesn't have that chance, or rather it has a very low chance of doing that. But on single target attacks, it has a much higher chance. So let's use my barrier core invocation here. Now my defense, as you can see over here, 75 on everything, is through the roof. So these guys have a very poor chance of hitting me right now, basically floored. Or rather, those are my resistances. my defense is, even now, over 60%, which is over the soft cap. We're going to heal up. Hop back a little bit to get a few more of them in our cone. Those barriers are just making it such a pain to hit these guys, because I'm missing so often. Okay, did some real damage there after a build-up. Gotta love build-up. Okay, I gotta kill this Guardian. He's buffing too many guys. And these drones are hard to hit alone, even without a barrier. Okay. But yeah, actually, I mentioned I changed her build, and, you know, that's been since I did my last video. And she has perma hasten now, which I think is pretty awesome for a character like this that does so much damage. But at the same time, she has a couple of core abilities that are important that they recharge quickly. And those most important ones would be Dark Regeneration, my heal. You want that up as often as possible. It's a huge endurance hog, but of course, Dark Armor you're not solely built around defense. I have decent defenses, but you're going to take damage, so you want to be able to heal up when you need to. The other really important ability from my perspective, I mean, of course, my area of effect attacks, it's really nice to be able to have them up as often as they are, because they have pretty large recharge times. But more importantly, from a survival perspective, which is sort of what I prioritize in many cases, though this character is more geared towards damage than some. But the conserve power, when you get in a pinch with your endurance, it can really spell your doom in certain cases. Wow, weird connection hiccup there. I've been having some connection problems recently, which is one reason I kind of held off on doing this until now, but hopefully they're not coming back to bite us right now. Alright. Thought I would have killed them with my throw spines there, but gosh, healing up and using RA, or not RA, I always want to call it that, AM, Accelerated Metabolism, which is a move from the radiation set, which these Guardians have. Okay, we're not going to worry about that drone right now. It's got a shield, so it's going to be a real pain to hit. I don't want this guy to come over here and buff this other group, so I'm going to take him out. That's worth bothering. Let's get this drone. Okay, my damage aura's killed it. So now let's take out this last group. Hop in, throw spines, spine burst, and then I'm going to activate my incarnate damage ability again, the Void Core. Bam, killed most of them, missed a couple. Okay, hit a couple of them there. The 54s, obviously I have trouble killing them with just one swoop, as I do with 53s and below. Usually I can take out most of a group, you know, if they're 53 or below, just in a hop-in, throw spine, spine burst, and maybe a ripper for anyone who didn't quite get finished off. Okay, so I didn't really pay attention, but I do have to defeat all the enemies, so that guy I let run away is coming back to haunt me here, because I need to kill everybody. Oh, okay, and there's another group, another 3 groups this way, so I thought that was going to be it, but no, we've still got a little more to do. I was trying to finish off in flashy form with that my Void Core Incarnate Power, but I got a little ahead of myself. A little premature. I've heard that before. What? Anyway. Take out this conscript. Yeah, I knew someone ran off over here. Another Guardian. Guardians are a huge pain because of how they can make their allies better. Okay, we got a an inspiration accuracy boost there. That's going to be really handy for dealing with these enemies, especially the drones, particularly if they get bubbled up. Okay, we're going to use our heal here because we had a lot of damage in that alpha strike. And now we're back to full. But yeah, when I decided to give her perma hasten, Blackrose, I was so excited with the prospect of having conserve power up so often. because endurance issues with her are a very real thing in certain cases, particularly in things like Incarnate Trials, where the action is just go, 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 go. Same thing if I'm fighting an AV, or a particularly tough AV, which is an elite boss. But, yeah, so having that up as often as it can be now, which I want to say is about 3 minutes since Hasten is always on, and it lasts for 90 seconds, so basically it's down for about half a minute, or a minute and a half, excuse me. Oh gosh, I think there's still another guy that's left, but yeah. I didn't want to have to hunt down another one. Okay, and the little spinning black and gold balls around me are the hybrid assault radial embodiment. I didn't use my lore pets here. I'm gonna kick them out real quick, because after this mission I really should in this video. So these guys do really good AoE damage, which, I mean, I pick on most everybody just because they're so good, and I'm sure you'll see them on other characters that I'm going to show in these videos. So I'm not going to worry too much about having them attack, but I want to at least show them. And they always look the same. The only thing that you can change is the color of their summoning, as you saw. That was sort of black and red, which seemed appropriate for her, given the color of her powers. Gold, red, and black being the color scheme rather, that I went for with Blackrose more than any other. Alright, and before we end this video, there's a couple of things I want to do. I want to show off my costumes for her, and I want to show off her build. This was her original costume, though I did change the colors of her powers to sort of match, I think, in every costume. I hate that the Hasten Glow continues, but, you know, you sort of get the theme of the costume. You know, just a trench coat, and it's sort of like, the idea was that the armor was sort of growing out of her skin, so it was sort of organic in nature. And, you know, the plant thing of her hair sort of seemed to go with the idea of thorns coming out of her body. But, you know, I sort of changed her concept over time, and I kind of like how it went. This was her second costume. It's a lot like the other one, but instead of the trench coat, you just have these sort of ripped apart wings, which is cool that they flap when you jump, which that's a little too close, but you can see they sort of flap. Unfortunately, very small roof in here, so you can't really get a too good view of that, but you get the point. I should also note that I kind of like the way the thorns look. You notice that there's some red here. That's sort of supposed to be like dried blood, because of course it's piercing through her skin. So, you know, just a little touch that I kind of enjoy. That's her main costume, or what has become her main costume, that I really love. This was sort of my idea of, okay, what if sort of her transformation continued and went further and further. You see her skin has become ashen. These wings also sort of ashen, but they're kind of gold, along with the same color of the armor. And as you can see, very little humanity left in her at that point. And you can also see the aura I have is this sort of slime aura, though it looks more like dripping blood out of her, which I kind of like in a sort of morbid way. She's a very dark character, but man, I love playing her. And this is probably my second favorite costume for her, behind her main costume. Just sort of a skin-tight outfit, but I really like the color scheme. I really like the belt, as you can see there. There we go. That's a better view of it. Also, that was a more recent hairstyle that came out with the Going Rogue expansion, and the crown is really cool as well. And you see the cape there, and the black and red of the outfit, which unfortunately is harder to see with the Hasten glow, but it is what it is. I have Hasten on auto since it's perma now. You can see it a little better now. And the wreath is kind of the theme of, or rather the symbol of her and the supergroup that I have around her as well. So yeah. And then back to the main costume, which is my favorite. I like the bund hair in the back and stuff, with the sort of Roman style wreath, which again fits with the wreath right there. But yeah, let's take a quick look at her build, just because, hey, I'm proud of it, and I spent a long time tweaking it, and, you know, this would have changed over time. It would have even changed in the next issue a little bit, but here's what I have. In Lunge, we have a full set of Hecatomb, which is a purple set, or not a full set, but 5 of 6. We're missing just a straight damage in there, because it's really unnecessary, because damage would only go to, like, maybe 100%, and it's at 89 now, so I'd rather have the proc. In Spine Burst, we have a full set of Armageddon, which is another purple set, so all of that. I should note the bonuses in this. In this one, the main thing I was going for was Recharge, because Recharge is one of the big themes around her. Recharge and damage, with as much defense as I could cram out of that as possible as well. But the big thing is Recharge and damage. And these increases my recharge, accuracy, a little bit of resistance, and some recovery. Recovery also being a thing that I tried to fit in. That's one of the main reasons I went for a lot of purples, because endurance, or rather, Spine's Dark Armor is such an endurance hog. For Armageddon, improved resistance, fire cold resistance, recovery rate, accuracy, recharge, and toxic resistance. 3 recharge plain IOs, level 50 in build up. 2 will do the job in most cases, but Blackrose is a character that I ended up exemplaring down with a lot because I just love her so much. So I wanted to stick with the 3. And that's kind of something I decided to stick by. In Quill's 1 plain endurance, because that is just such an endurance heavy, an endurance heavy toggle. And then we have 5 sets, or rather 5 IOs of Siroko's Dervish. We have increased regeneration, negative energy resistance, accuracy, and area of effect defense. And we're missing an accuracy recharge. We have all the others here. Impale has Apocalypse. We have an increase in regeneration, maximum health, damage, recharge rate, and psionic defense. Ripper, we have a full set of Obliteration, which is nice, but not a purple. Neither is Siroko's Dervish. You know what? I'm not going to go through all these aloud. You can read them. Ragnarok, we have 5 of 6. We're missing the knockdown proc because it doesn't really seem necessary because she kills most enemies so fast. And we put a damage proc in there from Positron's Blast instead. And I didn't feel that missing out on the bonus of toxic resistance was worth getting the proc there for knockdown. Dark Embrace, we move on to some Hamios, 3 ribosome exposures, and then we have a knockback protection steadfast IO, which does 4 KV protection. Death Shroud, another set of obliteration. Now the slotting on Obsidian Shield gets weird, but this is where you can see just how carefully I planned this build in you know, the long term. This character is just, it's one of my older characters for sure. 1 ribosome, which gives, I should mention, resistance and endurance cost increase, or rather decrease to endurance cost, improves your resistance. Steadfast resistance defense IO. What this does is increases your resistance by a bit, but it adds a plus 3% defense buff to typed and typed and positional defense. So that's just fantastic. It's irreplaceable. Gladiator's Armor, Resistance, Endurance. Self-explanatory. And this one is a proc, teleportation, protection, and another plus defense. Another 3% defense increase. And I should note, I also added 2 of these because I wanted the improvement to recovery, which you can see under their underset bonuses by 2.5%. Murky Cloud. This is, I should mention, Dark Embrace, Obsidian Shield, Murky Cloud, all defense-based shields. More ribosomes. Dark Regeneration, a Golgi exposure, increases heal and reduces endurance cost. A single accuracy increase. A Dr. Wound's Healing Absorb, Endurance Recharge, and 3 Numina Convalescence, which increases our health by 1.8%. we have a endurance recharge, heal recharge, and heal endurance recharge. Cloak of Darkness, 2 cytoskeleton exposures, which increases defense and decreases endurance. We have Luck of the Gambler plus 7.5, which increases your recharge power, or your recharge of all powers by 7.5%. Oppressive Gloom, we have a set of Absolute Amazement, missing only the stun duration recharge, because recharge is utterly meaningless because it's a toggle power. Out of that, we get a bonus of recharge by 10%, which is awesome. Out of these up here, the only set bonuses we got worth mentioning are the increased melee defense of Obliteration and the increased recharge time, as well as the increased maximum health here. And of course the improved recovery, which I mentioned. Single slaughters out here. The only one that's really worth mentioning here. Sprint, a plus stealth IO, allows me to turn on sprint, and along with my Cloak of Darkness, which is here, which has a partial stealth ability at its activation. This gives me basically full stealth to normal perception enemies. Enemies like the drones overcome it though. Miracle plus recovery, Numinous Convalescence, regeneration recovery, Panacea plus hit points slash endurance. You probably noticed a green heal of, I think, 65 popping up over her head every now and then. That's what that's from. It gives you a heal every now and then. And it also gives a prog to endurance, which is the main thing I use it for, because again, her endurance is just awful. Stamina, endurance mod, in mod recharge, in mod accuracy, and chance for plus endurance. All from performance shifter set. Increases recovery again and maximum health. Another plus 7.5 recharge. We have another knockback proc in here to prevent knockback. That gives her, along with this one right here, a KB 8 protection, which is nice, and against most enemies, that's enough to protect her. Tough, just plain ribos. Weaves gets cytoskeleton exposures, another 7.5 increase, and shield wall, which increases all of her resistances by 3. It's worth noting that with the coming patch, or rather the new issue patch that would have come out, that would have been plus 5% resistance to all types of damage. That's what I'm looking to say. Hasten, 3 recharges, maneuvers, just a plain cytoskeleton exposure, assault, a endurance recovery, IO, conserve power, a single recharge reduction, and physical perfection, which increases her her regeneration and recovery. I have another plus endurance chance proc, and that's her build. For anyone that that might have been curious, it's you know, I think I ran through it pretty well there, and you can more or less see the important things that gives her right there. About 1700 health, and that's along with the accolade powers that increases your health and endurance as much as possible. She has all of those. Smashing resistance 55%, fire resistance 48%. This is where she has a hole right here. Energy resistance 26%, and energy attacks hurt, which is actually, ironically, Rikti use energy attacks a lot, which is something I kind of liked because, you know, they're sort of her nemesis, and you know, if they had a good way of damaging her. Negative energy resistance 53%, psionic resistance 58%, which is fantastic, by the way. Melee defense 32%, range 25, and AoE 28. And influence, you know, she has a lot of influence. I think I also might have some in the email box. No, not right now. Character respec, yay. But yeah, this is going to be my last video with Blackrose of Thorns. We're going to have more of others in the future. But, you know, I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe a blast from the past if you're watching this in the future. If not, then, you know, I'll look into my favorite City of Heroes character over the 7 or so years that I played it. And I probably played her for 5.5, maybe even 6 years. So this is a lot of time, a lot of effort. A labor of love, though, and I mean, I've never had a game that I've invested so much into, and that I feel that I've gotten so much out of. So, you know, I know this is this sounds super cheesy to a lot of people, but you know, after that much time and effort, the people you meet in the game, the relationships you build, all that, these really become important to you. And this, you know, this space in the invisible spectrum out there on a server somewhere has become important to me. And, you know, very, very fond of this character. Gonna miss her a lot. But I think I'm going to end it with that. Thank you guys for watching. And, you know, thanks for the support you've given me, me in the past, and the game in the past, and all of that. There will be more to come. And after City of Heroes, you know, goes under and it's all said and done, I'll probably move this channel on to Let's Playing something else. But I haven't decided that, and I'll probably talk about that in other videos. So, I'm going to end it here. Thank you again for watching. Take care.